Let them fight.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we'll be looking at the most notable incidents from around the world where politicians have resorted to violence, often within the parliament, to resolve their differences.
One heartbeat away from the presidency, not a single vote cast in my name. Democracy is so overrated.
Mass Brawl in Turkish Parliament. Political disagreements between parliamentary members are common around the world.
Why then you should discover a brace of unmeriting, proud, violent, testy politicians, alias fools, as any in Rome.
But in 2016, Turkish lawmakers decided to work out their differences with their fists and legs. The dispute revolved around changes to the constitution that could strip lawmakers of their immunity from prosecution while in office. This proposal was backed by the ruling AK party and was believed to be targeted at members of the pro-Kurdish opposition party, HDP.
Politicians, you already mentioned one. I know I did. They're twice as bad as anything else.
The dispute quickly turned physical, with politicians in suits and ties leaping over desks to launch blows at their opponents. In the end, multiple MPs reportedly sustained injuries, and we're pretty sure the conflict did not lead to any resolution.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Fight breaks out in Georgian Parliament. Sometimes political tensions from one country can spill over into another, resulting in conflict there. That was the case in December 2013 when lawmakers in Georgia came to blows over Ukraine's integration into the EU.
Fellow states are trying to convince him to greenlight EU membership talks and new funding also for Ukraine.
The catalyst for this clash came when Georgi Baramidze, a member of the Georgian opposition party National Movement, called on his fellow lawmakers to support Ukraine. Their response was anything but diplomatic.
I checked the list. Rubber tubing, gas, saw, gloves, cuffs, razor wire, hatchet, ladders, and my mitts.
MPs threw documents in the air and resorted to exchanging kicks and punches. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured, just a few bruised egos and perhaps a lesson or two in parliamentary etiquette.
Hey, being a vampire and a politician, it can be hard to make friends.
Hong Kong lawmakers duke it out. The 2019 Hong Kong protests initially erupted in response to a proposed extradition bill in the country's parliament.
可能個大陸嘅司法制度其實都唔係太可信，咁就亦都對呢個香港人就造成一啲不必要嘅恐慌，亦都係對我哋係好唔公平。
This amendment sought to make it easier for criminal suspects to be extradited to China, which would have further increased China's influence over Hong Kong. But just as the protests on the streets escalated into violence, so did the parliamentary debates. Pro-democracy blocs physically clashed with their pro-establishment counterparts, resulting in chaotic scenes of pulling, tugging, and piling on top of each other.
Many residents have slammed the amendments, saying it weakens Hong Kong's independence. At least one person was transported from the chamber on a stretcher following the tussle.
One lawmaker fell flat on his face and had to be evacuated on a stretcher. At least this saga saw a resolution of sorts, as the extradition bill was later withdrawn from parliamentary discussion.
There's a time for fighting and there's a time for singing. Now you teach us to sing.
Congos Parliament descends into chaos. Chairs, buckets, batons, these were some of the everyday items lawmakers in the Democratic Republic of Congo turned into weapons after a parliamentary brawl erupted in December 2020.
Take your shot.
Tensions arose when President Felix Tshisekedi sought to dissolve his alliance with former President Joseph Kabila, whose coalition controlled the parliament. Lawmakers loyal to Kabila disagreed with this move and decided to express their dissent in the loudest way possible. They tore apart the parliament and hurled buckets and chairs at each other. One man was struck so badly he suffered severe injuries and bled profusely. If this was the only way to resolve conflicts, we doubt these lawmakers would be getting any legislative work done.
A politician's word, so that young fellows like yourself can wear a suit and a tie and have a job.
Water and fistfights in Kosovo's parliament. It all began with a picture depicting Kosovo's Prime Minister Albin Kurti as Pinocchio. In July 2023, while Kurti was addressing Parliament, a lawmaker walked up to the stage and placed the picture on the podium. Shortly after the Deputy Prime Minister tore it up, another lawmaker approached Kurti with a bottle of water and splashed it all over him.
I'm wet! I'm wet! I'm hysterical and I'm wet! I'm in pain! And I'm wet!
This sparked a physical altercation that quickly escalated into a free-for-all. Grown men and women set just the perfect example for their kids as they descended into fistfights on the parliament floor.
The Royal Rumble lasted for several minutes before cooler heads prevailed. The Prime Minister was escorted out of the room and a break was called for 30 minutes.
The brawl served as the tipping point of a heated debate that had persisted over Kurti's handling of tensions in Kosovo's northern region.
Careful, Aquaman. They're stronger than you are.
That remains to be seen.
The Prescot punch. Not all political fights unfold within the parliament or even solely between politicians.
Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough!
Back in 2001, then British Deputy Prime Minister John Prescot faced an unexpected confrontation on his way to an election rally in Rhyl, North Wales. A protester, identified as Craig Evans, threw an egg at Prescott, which struck him in the face. Without even thinking, Prescott responded with a left-handed jab, sparking a brief scuffle between the two. Evans wrestled Prescott against a small wall before police officers and bystanders intervened and led the politician away. While the struggle may have been undignifying for a man of his status, Prescott refused to apologize and, surprisingly, gained public approval for his reaction.
Tonight, a Labour Party spokesman said John Prescott was attacked by a protester, and he defended himself from that attack as anyone would in the circumstances. They added, "We understand a man is being questioned and we can't comment further."
Japan's Parliament Brawls Over Pacifism. Since World War II, Japan has maintained a largely pacifist stance, deploying its military purely for self-defense purposes. In 2015, then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe proposed a controversial bill that would allow Japanese forces to assist in defending its allies, even if the country faced no direct attack.
But opposition parties have vowed to stand in the bill's way.
We have reached a very important point right now. We will do whatever we can to prevent the vote from going through.
While debating the bill in a parliamentary session, Japanese lawmakers, in their oh-so-pacifist nature, leapt over their desks and scrambled on top of each other in a bid to prevent the vote from proceeding. Unsurprisingly, the scuffle did nothing to hinder the bill's progress. Didn't anyone remind these lawmakers that there should be no fighting in the war room?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. What is going on here? I demand an explanation.
Punch-up in Venezuelan Parliament. The 2013 presidential election in Venezuela concluded with Nicolás Maduro winning by a very slim margin. Lawmakers from the opposition party considered the contest fraudulent and refused to recognize Maduro as president.
For most of the people here, this is a first step towards opposing what they call is the dictatorship of President Nicolás Maduro.
In response, the ruling majority proposed a measure to block opposition members from speaking in the parliament until they acknowledged the election outcome. Naturally, this didn't go down well with the affected lawmakers.
Brother, you are going down.
While protesting the measure, the politicians devolved into a violent clash on the floor, with at least one lawmaker sustaining bruises to his face. Just like two kids fighting on the playground, neither side admitted responsibility, instead blaming each other for the incident.
I don't have to know anything except that they love it. Sorry, Maya, I walk with a different crowd now. And as you can see, I am quite the influence on them.
Ukraine's Bouquet of Scuffles. While delivering his annual address before Parliament in December 2015, then Ukrainian Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk received a pleasant surprise. One of the MPs, Oleh Barna, walked up to the podium and handed him a bouquet of roses. But before Yatsenyuk could process his unusual gift, Barna delivered yet another unexpected move.
It's time.
He grabbed the Prime Minister from behind and physically removed him from the podium. Barna was quickly restrained by another individual, but the chaos didn't stop there.
I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
Soon, a mob of other lawmakers joined the fray, turning the once ambient session into a cacophony of shouts and mayhem. Who said politics can't be a spectator sport?
They're lushing it up and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed, they don't care.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Taiwanese lawmakers face off again. Violent brawls seem to be a part of the job for lawmakers in Taiwan. On numerous occasions, MPs in the East Asian country have made headlines for physical altercations within the parliamentary chambers, but perhaps none was quite as controversial as this July 2017 clash.
On my challenge, by the ancient laws of combat, we are met at this chosen ground to settle for good and all.
While debating budget proposals for an infrastructure development plan, lawmakers from opposing parties attacked each other with everything at their disposal. Their fists, legs, chairs, and even water balloons. Amidst the chaos, a whistle can be heard seemingly attempting to restore order, but the politicians paid no heed and proceeded with their skirmishes.
Come about!
If the Taiwanese people ever wondered if their lawmakers were fighting for them, they probably have their answer.
For Frodo.
Which of these political fights stunned you the most? Let us know in the comments below.
I hope that what we've done here will be enough to stop it from ever happening again, but I need to know you've accepted reality.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.